Hello, Beth. I'm here with Felicity Coccozzoli, who is the program leader of Reclaim My Place in the Center of Excellence for Equity in Higher Education. And we want to talk to you a little bit about Reclaim My Place and your very generous contribution, which will enable us to continue to build an evaluative framework, an ethical evaluative framework, to capture the significant work around Reclaim My Place. So I'm going to just ask Felicity, or Flick for short, a couple of questions about Reclaim My Place to give you a better sense of what it's all about and how your contribution is going to help the program and most importantly, the participants in the program. So Flick, I thought maybe we could start by just telling Beth a little bit about the program and also the underpinning principles that guide it.
Certainly. Hi, Beth. Reclaiming My Place was born out of an interest when I came from CHE to really looking at interventions or programs that could support women who had been subjected to gendered violence. So we know from research that women who have fled situations of gendered violence need additional supports, particularly in entering educational spaces. So we came up with the concept of an arts-based program for women who had fled gendered violence that would create a really safe space for them to come together and using art to express their voice in ways that they may not have had possible, come together with partners in spaces of safety to begin to reimagine what their future might look like beyond their experience of trauma. And so Reclaiming My Place was born as an 8-week arts-based program where women come together with the service providers and our wonderful community education partners to just sit together to make art, to form deep relational sorry, Penny, I've just lost it.
Okay, keep going because I think Julia can edit it for us.
You can edit it?
Yeah.
So women are coming together with their community services partners as well as our learning partners to begin to reimagine their life beyond gendered violence and also to form deep connected relationships with one another and with community services that are going to take them well beyond the program.
It's just wonderful. And Flick, I know that there's been a lot of challenge around the COVID lockdown recently. And just hearing you talk about the foundations that you build with the women, can you talk a little bit about how you were able to address those challenges and keep that sense of connection over the COVID period?
Yes, certainly, Penny. The program itself is really underpinned by deep connections and relationships from all of the partners. So we had women in 2 local areas, suburbs of Newcastle, who were able to come together in a Facebook group that was actually branched off the Family Support Service Facebook group. And the stories that the women have told us about their engagement has been really thought-provoking. We kept things going with very, very poorly made movies from my point of view around making of art, clips, connections to other artists, and right through this Facebook group, our community partners and our learning partners were coming in and out and really keeping up those relationships with the women. And the women were provided through CHE art packs that we gifted to them that they could continue to work in the COVID space. We had an opportunity to come together with them in a park recently, and they told us how much that group meant to them. In some of the women claimed that it saved their sanity at times of isolation. We had women from 2 totally different suburbs who and two different groups who spoke about how they were able to build relationships with one another across a Facebook group. And then through the wonders of iPhone technology and just texting through some of their images, we'll be able to share with you the link to our online exhibition that we were able to hold. So through some really simple strategies, we were able to hold this group together, and they're still flourishing and thriving. But I think, Penny, the secret was the relationships of trust that were built prior to the isolation of COVID.
I think it's just so important and often missing from these kinds of programs. And, you know, I've been part of witnessing and observing the importance of the women having their work exhibited publicly in, you know, quite high profile spaces, like the, you know, International Gender and Education Conference, for example. And, you know, that sense of recognition and validity and legitimization that the women are receiving through that, taking their artwork seriously, which should be done because their artwork is exquisite and beautiful. But they're not artists. They're coming to this as women learners, and you're offering them a way, a form of expression that otherwise wouldn't be available to them, for them to discover themselves as learners, as to reclaim their sense of self after incredibly traumatic experiences, and also to explore their futures and the future possibilities available to them via lifelong learning pathways. So, but I suppose also learn from each other, and all of the exchange and the connection and the developing meaningful relationships within their communities, within their groups, is really important part of their learning experience. So,
and our learning, Penny, our ongoing learning. We learn from these women and different groups across 10 programs now. I feel like my learning has been so enriched by them. And Beth, the other very important component or the principle of the program is that we are asking professional social workers, family support workers, TAFE teachers, university colleagues to sit with the discomfort on an equal space with these women making art, which is a really vulnerable and open engagement, way of engaging with the women. But what it does for the women is to really build their sense of equality and equity, that they are sitting in an equal space. And the professionals are also the ones who they're called to select pieces to exhibit as well. And so what the evaluation, our opportunity to evaluate the program is giving us is an opportunity to really explore very deeply what impact this is having for these workers who are going to be the advocates for this work to continue in a space. And certainly that it is already happening, where we have 2 organisations who already have the program written in to their service activities with the Department of Communities and Justice funding. So that's really exciting, Penny.
it is really exciting. It's very under researched field about, you know, women who have experienced gendered violence and their re-engagement with learning. And so Beth's contribution is going to enable us to develop an evaluative research agenda to understand, you know, the impact of that, not only on the women themselves, but also their children and the professional staff surrounding them, and the transformative effect it has on them, which then gets taken into other aspects of their work. And I think through that to build a bigger agenda around research on, you know, that's being able to explore women's experiences of gendered violence and the impact of that on their engagement with lifelong learning and higher education ultimately. So we're incredibly grateful to you, Beth, for enabling this journey to take place. and being part of that. And we're very happy to keep you updated via video excerpts, little video talks with you, or via Zoom. And hopefully, once the COVID lockdown lifts and things get back more to normal, that we'll be able to meet with you in person and maybe even introduce you to some of the women participants.
Absolutely. I look forward to it.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much.
Thank you, Beth.
Thanks, Penny.
Thanks, Click.